No job report this week? Well, let me give you my job report. Directly from Houston, Texas. So, capital of oil and gas, but not only. It's a very large city that has a very active job market. It includes the healthcare sector, service, some technology. It's pretty diverse. Even so, yes, oil and gas is probably the largest employing sector in Houston. So, what have we seen lately? In the last couple of years, following the pandemic, Houston has been a booming market. Very active job market, very active economy, booming economy. You could see it on the housing market. It's a direct reflection here. Prices kept going up and up on houses, and the houses were on the market. I mean, they would sell like that. And the same was happening with the candidates on the job market. They would not stay long. A very qualified, sought after candidate would just manage to get a jump in salary non-stop. And this is slowing down. In the last few months, 6 months, I would say maybe a year max, it's been slowing down steadily. If you look at the housing market, the houses sit longer on the market. Sellers have to decrease the prices, maybe 5, 10, 20K in order to sell the house. And the same happens in the job market. The candidates have to look longer for a job. Sometimes they have to take a little pay cut to find the job they want, even so it's not the salary they want. But yes, you definitely see a slowdown, despite the fact that we're still doing pretty good and the unemployment rate is still below the historical average here. So we're just below 5%, so not bad. But we're seeing some waves of job relocations, some government program shutdown that directly affect the job market with some mass layoff. So let me give you an example here and start with a little story. And if you're enjoying this content, please make sure to hit the thumbs up and let me know as well what you see in the state you're at. But here in Texas, so the girls and I go to karate. They have a girlfriend there, and her dad had been looking for a job for at least 6 months. And I've seen him on his computer, applying, talking to people, sharing his struggle pretty much. So one day I asked him, okay, what are you looking for? And what's your background? What's your qualification? So he's an engineer and he is looking for a cyber security role. I said, wow, that's a pretty hot job, cyber security. You see all these hacks. Companies want cybersecurity personnel to secure their network, their infrastructure. He says, yes, it's a very hard job. They do want, they need a cybersecurity specialist, but they're not looking to hire here in Texas. They're already relocated these jobs in lower cost countries and they're hiring there. So in his case, it's in India. So there, every time he's seeing, yeah, the job was relocated in India, and that's how he got pretty much laid off. The job was relocated to a lower cost country. And that's just one example of a very hot job that's needed at the moment being done out of India. Other jobs that are more routine admin, let's take finance, for instance, or HR or some procurement. These were also relocated in a lot of companies. If I take the example of two of the oil and gas giants here in Houston, Exxon and Chevron, all these admin jobs were relocated to what they called shared service centers. And in the present case, it's down there, South America, in Argentina, lower cost, but in a very similar time zone so that they can better service the businesses in the US. Because India, it's kind of tough here in terms of time difference. They work when you sleep and vice versa, so there's a big time difference. But if you go down south, like Argentina, poof, almost the same and much lower costs. So it doesn't help the job market at all to have all the companies looking at lowering costs and relocating jobs. And this is just the first step, relocating jobs, because the second step is obviously to automate. So either creating some automation robotics or having robots do a physical job. So that's going to be the second step. We're not there yet, but once that happens, it's going to be massive, and it's going to affect as well all these third world, lower cost countries that have gotten all the jobs pretty much. So unless you have a very productive job right now here, you're at risk of having it relocated somewhere where it's cheaper. And when the cheaper places go up in costs, then we're going to move to AI, automation, robots. So unfortunately, that's really what I see from my window here in Houston. But besides oil and gas, what we've seen as well that's contributed to layoffs is the end of some government programs. So obviously, we have government. We have the shutdown right now, employees being furloughed, the risk of having some reduction in force. That's across the nation, not just Texas, and obviously a lot more in Washington, D.C. But that's not what I'm talking about here. When I say government programs, I'm talking about certain government programs that had to do with migrations. Let me share with you an article here that I found pretty interesting, and there's more than just this one. So this is an article from the Houston Chronicle. Another wave of mass layoffs to hit Texas, with Houston bearing the brunt. The largest share of job losses will come from the nonprofit Southwest Key programs. So I was like, okay, what are these programs? So that's fairly recent, August 2025. So if we scroll down, so you've got a few companies, organizations that have filed reports under the Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification Act, WARN. And you can see how they're split here. So most of the layoffs will take place in Harris County, with the area expected to see 1,146 layoffs. So Harris County is Houston, but it's, Hidalgo, Dallas, it's across the state, but Houston is hit the worst. So that's the interesting part. Layoffs per company include, so you've got a few private like UPS, but you also have two, obviously, that are government funded. This one is Planned Parenthood, Gulf Coast, so it's here, Houston area, and the Southwest Key Programs, Inc. So what is that? That's a nonprofit that provides shelter services for immigrant children. The organization announced 1,213 layoffs statewide following the termination of federal grant funding, a move that has also led to job losses in Arizona. Which, at the end, when you think about it, it makes sense. We change government, we change policy orientation, less immigration, less children, less funding. And the same, I've seen another one. It was in the Richardson, so Dallas area, as well as the Rio Grande. Here it was more on the healthcare, medical facilities, but one of them were also caring for immigrant children. And here too, they're shutting the doors by the end of the year. So end of the government program here for all the immigration. Anyway, there, the border is a lot more closed and less migrants coming in. So, but yes, all the people that were working there, no more. So it adds up. It adds up. Despite all these, Texas is still doing pretty good, very active economy. You've seen the headlines with Musk moving a lot of jobs and creating a lot of jobs in Texas. So that definitely helped. We also have some big electronic companies like Intel that are opening some fabs and facilities to manufacture microchips here in Texas. So that here is no longer in Asia. We're trying to relocate it here to have more independence. So that also creates jobs. So we have this that helps a bit compensate the other trend. But at the end, where are we going long term? It's not very positive, because these high-tech companies relocating jobs, when you think of Musk, he's all into AI and robotics. When you think of Intel and all the microchips, how many workers are actually going to work there? right now, and if you look at it in 2-3 years from now, all this is going to be automated. We're into very high-tech industries. So probably not as many jobs moving forward. It brings a lot onto the economy itself, but the jobs, not that sure here. So it's not such a pretty picture when you look at it long term, especially if you got kids like me. I mean, they're 11. How is it going to be in 10 years when they're going to have to enter the job market? Do they study? And what do they study? What shall they do? What would be the jobs of the future? When you take AI, robots, what shall they do? One of them wants to be a vet, I think. But are we still going to need doctors? Is it going to be done by robots? Another one is interested into space. She didn't say astronauts, but even then, I mean, look at it. A lot of boys want to be astronauts. Isn't it easier to send a robot in space? It doesn't need to breathe, doesn't need to eat, doesn't need anything. You just send it there and you get all the reports you want as well. So, yeah, not sure here. If you got the idea, magic ideas of the jobs of the futures for our kids, please post in the comments below. I'm interested. And everything can change. Maybe in 2 years from now, it's going to be another picture here. We're going to be living in robots in our house. Who knows? Who knows? But right now, job market, to come back to the main topic, it's slowing down, but Houston is still a pretty active, dynamic market overall. So slowing, but steadily, but hopefully, let's hope it picks back up. Let's hope positive here, but right now it's going down, but not as bad as other places in the country, most likely. So I hope you found this interesting. If you did, as always, please hit the thumbs up, leave me a comment, let me know what you think. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, and check out my other videos. Thank you all for watching.